I am here.
Yeah.
All right, let's fix this.
I know, we got to get like our headshots all in alignment. Ooh, you're out in nature. My love, it's a little dark though.
Blessings and love, sister. What a powerful time and a moment to talk about such deep and divine just occurrences in our life's journey. It's an honor. I love you so much.
Oh, I love you. It is such an honor. Let's introduce you. This is Petra Anjelica Ramon. Ancient Rosewater 11 at Instagram. She is a Reiki master and a multidimensional blue avian, which I want to ask you if I even pronounced that correctly and what that is to you.
It represents, I guess, an aspect of my higher self, possibly. So an avian is like an aviator. It's a form of an extraterrestrial, I guess, consciousness. And over the years, I've learned different things, little small things about myself that kind of lead up to the definition of an avian, which I don't see much of that on the internet or talked about. And when it is, it's like, it's a very, very beautiful like explanation. So if you just look up avian, blue avians, see, because I feel I'm a part of a blue solar hand like tribe, which is a part of the Reiki. And that's where that explanation comes from.
Wow, I love that. I have another sister who feels that she's definitely a blue person, but I don't know if it's a part of those blue people.
It's a part of
I'm so grateful.
Like like Avatar, blue people, Atlantis, you know, kind of being like in a neutral state as far as all of the affairs that are going on. Avian.
That's cool. A neutral state. So in effect, like holding space.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is so powerful. And love, I just want you to know that sometimes the lighting is really good because you're so gorgeous. And then sometimes it gets dark. So I don't know if you can see that too. If you want to just, I don't know if there's something.
Yeah, I see it too. And I guess I'll just go with it. I'm not sure. Yeah.
All right. All right, love.
I see it get light and dark, but maybe that's a part of it.
Okay. Fair enough. So today we are going to discuss, we're going to just run the gamut of romance, relationship, and bring our higher awareness, our experiences into play, and to look at things from that expanded level of awareness. And as two goddesses, chilling and hanging out and having this conversation.
I mean, I want to view it as like I'm kicking back and talking. But, you know,
exactly.
we're saying some pivotal things. And I mean, right now with the state of affairs, we're right here talking about this because we're creating this reality, right?
Yes, absolutely. And I did want to share with you and with everyone how I even came across you. And I love Instagram for how we all just stumble into each other divinely. And really with so much resonance, I don't even know what I was doing, but often I'll just go into search and I'll like whatever, some metaphysical hashtag, and I'll just look, and there was this piece of animation that really struck me. And it was so powerful.
Yeah.
And I clicked on it. I clicked on you. And I was like, oh, who is this lady? And it was, I don't know if you can remember, but it was a piece of animation that included these three things. And
that looks familiar. Yeah. Yeah, I was probably on my like sacred geometry like rabbit hole at that time, or like really like understanding, I guess, those concepts in the metaphysical realms. I remember that time. It was very, very conscious, like expanding for me. And
well, I'm so grateful because if I never came across this, we wouldn't be hanging out today doing this now. But also, this has become a profound part of the work that I've been doing for 20 years.
Yeah.
Over time, I had like downloaded it, and I was like, I always would go in and I'd look at it. And then sitting meditating last year with my BFF, my best friend, who doesn't live here anymore, I get this download in the middle of meditation, and I write to draw. And I don't know if you can see, but it's the Merkaba,
Yeah.
and it's the diamond, and then the hologram.
Right. So it's like as above, so below. That's what I get from it, right? Trying, shapes, geometrical shapes, symbolism, right? Because the star, that could symbolize many different things off the bat. The star,
Yeah.
right? A Jewish symbol. I look at it and I see a star. If I'm a kid, I'm like, oh, a star. But yeah, go ahead. I didn't mean to intercede.
No, it's all good. So I this happens in the middle of a meditation. 2 months later, I'm back on doing my little search through hashtag land, just randomly looking at physics, metaphysics, all this stuff. And I come across this drawing that has the same freaking thing, the Merkaba, the diamond, the hourglass, almost exactly like how I had been guided to draw it in the meditation. So I go and I look this up, and it's George Merkel, who is a physicist, he's dead now, who has just channeled some phenomenal stuff. Anyway, it's worked into the work I'm doing now. It was a part of my presentation at the Conscious Life Expo at the earlier part of this year, and now it's becoming a part of the teachings. I'll have to tag you on a piece that I made about it last year.
Yeah, tag me.
So I thank you, sister, for just being that, holding that, so that we could find each other.
That's how I feel with so many people that I've met via the interwebs. I've met some really, really interesting individuals. The hashtag thing is magic. It can take you to any place you want, and it's like, I learned so much there, but then I was relearning, what I anciently was, I guess, and it's like, we're all like little flames or star seeds. We start off one of the first words that I found in my awakening was like the indigo star seeds, the real light. That's where like I started wanting to expand more, and then it got deeper with, I guess, the different types of aliens, right, or ETs, and I don't know, the metaphysics of this all goes everywhere, right? And it's taken me on like a path of like that's why I say multidimensionalism, because I can't really contain everything into another explanation. It's multi, but it's important to always remember that core, right? And we'll probably the core, the blueprint, our true nature in all the expanding dimensions, right?
Yeah, just like what I was sharing last night with the Rubik's Cube shenanigans, and like you had chimed in and you were like, I get it, and I was like, she gets it, oh yeah. And it's so exciting. And even I was just talking about that yesterday in another interview, and I feel like this is going to be a very important part of our just remembering, that God, that source, that seed, that love, that light, that's our OG-ness. That's how we really roll, and everything else on top of it is just the stories. So speaking of stories, I'm just so thrilled and grateful and honored that you would come in and share with us on these intimate levels about relationship, about romance, we don't have to get into sex. Maybe we'll leave that for another show if we want to do it some another time. We'll see where it goes, right?
Yeah.
Now, childhood upbringing has so much to do with how we grow up as adults, how we're informed to interact in relationship as we grow up.
Yeah.
Right? I know that I was never told about the birds and the bees, and it's in my book, The Reiki Apprentice, my whole coming into sex and sexuality, the way that happened. But I hadn't got a clue. And I was just like this lost child out in the woods, sort of not understanding anything, and sort of getting myself into situations that were inappropriate because I didn't know any boundaries. You too? So how were you informed as a child? How were your parents, like what sort of paradigms or patterns did they set up for you to learn by as you grew up?
I think I just absorbed, I guess, their dynamic as mom and dad. To get into the astrology of it, my dad was a Gemini, my mom was a Pisces, and so they already had a strong I guess, karmic connection as it is, right? And so the layers are within that is already present. Not to mention my mother's generational, lineage with the women and who have probably also been in, I guess, limiting relationships or just the pattern, like the generational patterns. I don't like to term it as curses anymore, like, because it's way too downtrodden, way too heavy, and it's a lot to push, which I really feel like I took like a cosmic dump, and like I'm so much lighter, so much enlightened, and even my relationship with my parents has shifted, but going back to the question, sorry. So yeah, growing up, I think I absorbed their constant, like, I'm hot and coldness. I'm a daughter of 5, so there's 5 girls.
Whoa.
Whole concept, all women. My mom and dad wanted to have a boy, and they kept trying until my baby sister Belinda, she's 28. Yeah, 28. That's what Actually, they thought she was a boy in the womb, and she was born premature, and she was a girl. And so on my father's level, I think that was like his karma, or his stuff too. And to kind of seal that in, what I mean by that is he was kind of he was like a Casanova, and he like ladies man. He basically was a person. He could walk in a place, and he's the one who would choose, right? Kind of energy. And he chose my mom because he was like, yeah, that's it. But he had this idea of like having the cake and eating it too growing up. And so he provided, he was he was a provider. We had what we needed, but the presence of a father wasn't there. Like he worked very hard. He's one of those people that just came from Mexico to to the United States, and like is gonna work hard, and Viva Mexico, and stuff like that. And I love it, right? But as I guess now looking back, I looking at it, I'm like, holy cow, this is why, or this is how I've attracted these situations, really risky situations in middle school and high school. Losing my virginity at an early age, with, someone special, but in the development process, I don't think that was the best way to go about my puberty or my development as a feminine, as a woman,
So is it because, and I might get I'm just noticing that when I'm talking, it was kind of reverbing a little bit. I might grab my headphones here in a moment, but just to stay on par with what you're saying, did he have the machismo thing going on? And did that influence, like, then the kind of men that you drew to you? Because that's what you were used to.
I'm pretty certain, to actually look at it as painful as it is, that's what has, been, or what was, right? Yeah.
Okay. And I'm going to get my headphones. Pardon me 1 second. Just in case it keeps, I don't know if you hear that on your end, but or if you guys out in Instaland. And thank you everyone for hopping on and for joining.
Thank you so much.
I don't know. Yeah, if you guys
are doing anything else at this time, listening to anyone, doing whatever, but you're here, and you're here for a reason. I don't doubt coincidences. I don't doubt, synchronicities. I believe in intuition and meeting people, at the right time.
Beautiful. Beautifully said. Okay, I think this is going to work better with the little headphones. My dear, so, okay, birds and the bees. So sex, virginity could have been done a different way, the way you lost it. But what informed you then, that blueprint of the father, but what informed you about sex, about birds and bees?
School. Sex ed at school, whatever program was being ran at that time. When was it? High school? I think it was high school.
So your parents never like sat you down and
my mom did briefly with my, growing into woman, like when my cycle started, she comforted me. She like, gave me that motherly comfort. I've gotten advice, yes, from her. I really have. So my mom has been a very, very strong and resilient person despite all of the challenges in her life. That's why I have so much, like, I guess, like, deep understanding for it. It's crazy. As chaotic as things have been, as, like secrets in the family or things like coming up as I grow and develop, still I get it. And then I see my mom and I'm like, she is a badass. Like, whoa. So she's, deserved a much, much better, I guess, relationship with a man, but to sustain her household, to keep us together, she was the father and mother, and took us to school, to all our appointments, everything. So she did her best, is what I'm saying. It wasn't necessarily the, hey, you know what, this is how guys should treat you, or you know what, you really deserve, like that. The way a father can really like instill, I guess, those levels of like assurity, confidence, knowing exactly what you want, just by nature, to be treated better, to know how to navigate, I guess, a situation in which you find yourself, in the land of crushes. I'm starting to develop like crushes on boys, on, feeling different about myself, and I'm understanding how I can, like, how powerful I am, and
so let's take that though with the mother. So you had these two blueprints. You're growing up in a large family, all girls, sisters, 5 of you. You have a father that's a player, a Casanova, as you said, got the machismo, Mexico, or the Hispanic, that Latin grid going on. And then on top of it,
yeah.
okay. And then on top of that, your mom though is like still in it all, taking care of the family, taking care of you girls, being strong throughout it all. So then as you grow up and you get into relationship, you have this pattern, you see the pattern of like how to be that strong woman, which you are, but also then the karmic cycle, it seems then, of, like you were saying, drawing in men who were like your father to and then also and acting out the version of your mother in yourself in these patterns of your father. And I know we had shared a little bit about your most recent relationship. If you want to talk a little bit about that, and we're definitely going to get into crushes a little later. But in terms of how what you've given us in terms of your background, how that has then informed this most recent relationship that you had.
Oh God, it was probably the most catalyzing one that I've had thus far. And probably the deepest, darkest shadows have all been like reassessed. I'm like not gonna go there again. But yes, basically, this person has a very father energy. In astrology, I mean, they're Capricorn, representing like father, daddy, and things. So basically, I knew this person for like 7 years, actually, virtually. We were friends on Instagram, funny enough. And we hardly talked until last year, the ending of last year and the beginning of this year. And it felt pivotal, because I believe in things like destiny and fate. I have that imagination, and I know it's not always all fairy tale, but it can certainly turn into an illusion really quick if it's not right for me. It can be a fucking delusion, an illusion that's not really mine to take. But believing in magic and love and things, I opened up, once again, even though I was still recovering from another previous relationship, and so I feel this person had good intentions at times, but ultimately still had a lot, I guess, to learn. They just needed and wanted someone like me by their side to grow, and I was all for that. However, I felt deceptive, like deceit. I felt deceptive, and in them actually, wanting to actively put the work. I was let down like so bad. And I guess it comes with the power of my like emotions, and emotions are very, very like important. However, like what I've learned is that to not be so emotional about every single thing and to like ride on emotions only, or to, you know, like I cried like I never cried this year in Massachusetts, you know, like, but I'm a crier. I love crying, but this level of crying, like, I think affected, really like, deep-seated affected me, and I think I'm going off topic. If you can bring me back.
I'm going to bring you back in, but it's interesting you say that, because I had a friend many, many moons ago who was a crier, and I know we both shared that we both have Cancer rising, ascending, so I cry.
I'm double water.
Okay, right. And but a friend of mine, she had cried and cried and cried and cried so much, and her acupuncturist actually told her that she's going to disrupt the spleen meridian. That she was so on the borderline of there was two, like she needed to just suck it up now. There was a certain point where the doctor was like, you're going to actually start to disrupt your immune system if you do not learn how to process this emotion in a different way. Okay, but bringing us back. So you have this massive karma with this individual. I know you were saying it was on the dark side. So do you feel though that you've worked that out now? You're still healing from the remnants of that? Like how do you work through that?
I think I'm healing from me making the similar decisions when I have this like infinite understanding of certain things, in hoping, you know, when ignoring red flags, like it you know.
Yes.
Yeah, the red flag is a real thing. I don't care how cliche that sounds. I don't care. Like, red flags are real. When if it looks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it's a duck, you know? And that's
okay.
It. So, you know, even before going to Massachusetts, I already had these indications that this person had deep, you know, deep levels of, I guess, sexual, just like a lot of like sexual skeletons in the closet, which I'm not demonizing things like that, but I'm saying like there was a lot more there than I knew, or than he presented, or than he even cared to work on, or to acknowledge, or was ready to, you know. Whereas I'm a person, I like looking at the soul of a situation. I like getting down to that's in my nature, and I embrace it, you know. And I felt like this individual wanted to actually go there with me in my own, you know, dismantling and their own. But he wanted to keep, I think, two separate lives, I guess, you know. And
well, it sounds like he had more to dismantle, perhaps, in that arena than you did. I don't know, but is that the way? Because that's very Cancerian woman energy too, where it's like, I've already been there, babe, but I'll go under my wing. I'll help usher you through.
I would agree with that.
And then we become the mother.
Oh yeah, yep. And I mean, I love that energy, because like it's like I feel I'm like Mother Earth. You know, I'm a mother to orphans. I'm a mother to, you know, the lost, the downtrodden, the misfits. You know, he's definitely an energy of misfits. I am too. You know, and things of that nature. But like my understanding, you know, I guess once the betrayal, mistrust happened between us, it went from him, you know, appreciating, or, you know, from an understanding, to like things got toxic, and it's like, now I'm gonna take advantage of you, and then it just went dark, you know.
So there was a betrayal that happened. Can we ask who did what? Well, briefly.
Yeah, I have this thing where I've worked on myself, and I long enough to know that, you know, what is in a person's heart is like kind of the iris of it's within his eye, within his heart, and then it's what he speaks in his action, you know. So whatever's in his heart, it's going to come out into his actions. And I found certain, you know, pornographic, or, you know, just things I didn't agree with on their phone. One evening, I felt I'm not the person who violates another person's privacy, but intuitively, if I'm nudged, and, you know, I know it's not all up here, I can feel it in my gut. I can feel it, you know. if I'm guided, I'll do it. And so I did it, and I found things, and it just hit me. It hit me really hard, and emotionally, I got very upset. I woke this person up from sleep, and I said, "What is this? What's going on here?" And etc. Whatever. I felt betrayed, and in that betrayal, I betrayed my progression, and so I digressed, and I decided to be spiteful and to be vengeful, or to kind of, teach this person a lesson,
So you could have been like, oh, red
what, let
flag.
me just walk away,
Right. You could have been like, this is a big red flag, but especially for you, because I know there's sisters, and maybe we will have to do a second show like later and talk about sex and porn and all this stuff, because it's a very interesting grid. And I know sisters who are like all about it.
Yeah.
And I'm not that sister though either. And I've had a very similar experience to yours, which is interesting. So that's why I'm saying we might have to circle back and follow up on this show.
Yeah, I don't bash that life either. Like I don't at all. I've almost gotten into different avenues and opening that type of income and that energy towards me. But like I always revert back, I guess, to that blueprint of how I feel about myself, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes. And so,
and I went and opened doors to exes, to speaking to other people again, and it was all ego. It was all ego, like a toxic ego form of myself. And I opened a dating site, the dating app on Facebook. I honestly, I'm not even, we can save that for another video talking about the dating apps, but not. I still entered that, that arena of back and forthisms, and I'm not saying age is everything, but, this person is 5 years younger than me, and, I'm not, but I'm just saying that they probably still needed a few years of just knowing who the fuck they are and what they want. Maybe that's just simply what it is. Lost.
Okay, so you're
lost, whereas
they were lost. I'm sorry, they were lost in what?
Just lost,
Just lost. Okay, so there was two things there. But first I want to just reflect on what you said a minute ago, which was you got the red flag, you saw that shit, but you were still like, I'm gonna play. I'm not gonna heed this red flag and split, even though it's not resonant with me. I'm gonna stay, and I'm gonna get revengeful. So that's what you're saying. The Lilith moon, that like dark side of the goddess came into play, and where you were like, okay, motherfucker.
My dark Lilith, my Lilith in Libra, which you guys, if y'all know anything about astrology, or find it in your chart, like Lilith in whatever it is, go on YouTube, or Google it. You will be like, oh God, I get like that when, shit ain't really going my way, or when I want to get like dark in my feminine, or dark in my vengeance, or you can, look at the lighter aspect of it, and it's like, okay, my Lilith in Libra is all about balance and justice, and the kind of justice system. It's like, well, the real justice is taking yourself out of a situation and letting the person learn how it is when you're absent. Period.
Right. And it's the what?
Oh, that was the lesson for me, is to just remove myself.
Yes. So then at the end, what you did then is you had to split because it was really getting too toxic. Yeah. Is what you had mentioned to me. And, and good for you then. And also, were you recognizing your own toxicity? Like, because if you were like, okay, well, let's game on, let's play. And then it was just this back and forth, which I know you had shared, just really got super, super dramatic and really painful and hurtful in the end.
So, I guess understanding me, and I don't mean to obsess about astrology, but it's crazy. Self-awareness, it's empowering, even in the most lowest points of life, my moon is in Leo, and so I can be, if untamed, dramatic about my pain, about expressing if I'm hurt. So it's beneficial in, being creative in theatrics and whatnot, but if I'm like, it's like a lion licking its own wounds in a cave, like, rawr, just things like that. And irrational, and I can definitely create, I've learned, chaos, complete and utter chaos for myself. And yeah.
It sounds like that's what happened, to the point where then you got it, that it was done, you were ready to leave, to drop, to be out of there then.
So I was gone, but I stayed there in this merry-go-round, in this,
the karma, the wheel. And so I wanted to ask you too, because it's very interesting for me what happens, and I don't want to project this onto you, but just as we continue to get to know each other, like personally, I have huge freaking energy, and if a dude is like really, really going to be a contender, he's got to be able to like have a big enough ego in a healthy way.
Yes.
And have his own life, like have his own thing going on, have his own self-realization. Because I've been a teacher
Otherwise,
for years.
Insecure, I think.
What's that?
Otherwise, a person can be insecure too.
That's an interesting point.
Let me clean this.
That's an interesting point. But it's like, but also what I get is that sometimes, because my energy is that. That when someone does start becoming interested and they start to move towards me, that it's just too much. I can't handle it, Captain. And then they just bow out. And I'm like, oh man, come on, dude, fucking man up. Come on, is it really like give me a chance here, But it's like, all right. So it's like that. Like there's a dismantling happening. And I wonder if that happens for you, where men start coming towards you, your energy is so big that it kind of like turns the lights on and they're like, oh shit, I'm not ready. Like they need to go back in the oven and cook a little more before they come and present themselves.
There's definitely moments where it's like instant like that. It's like, no, this isn't that. No, I don't care. Or even a stare, or even like me just, no. And then, yeah, I definitely have that. Sometimes I just know it, and I just won't even place myself in the situation with someone to where I would want to get to know them more. I just already kind of know, and it has nothing to do with being. This is the thing. It has nothing to do with being better than anybody. It's just who I am. Period. And what I'm about. And not necessarily wanting someone so identical to me, but vision-wise, we're like, we're thinking differently than the rest of this, this paradigm. We're like, we woke up, and
right.
Unfortunately, like I feel like with this person, my ex, and with like with other people I've like gotten very close to, karmically, not just males, females, friends that I've had, where it's crazy when I'm exiting their life, or when I'm like reaching just epiphany moments in my life. Sometimes people know I'm like, kind of, and so they'll do everything possible to completely, like, I guess, have me question myself and my own path. Like I've had like such like horrible like goodbyes with people, or like separations, and when I look at it, it's a part of like an old me shedding. It really, I almost even feel like they're not even human, or they're not even real. It's like aspects of myself, shedding, and
like, do you mean that like there's that underbelly again of the dark, karmas, like having to really come to the light, like work themselves out? Do you feel that you've had that with a lot of partners? I know for me, I feel like I've had boyfriends, some girlfriends I've had since I was 13, with like maybe a 2-week break in between. I've had back to back relationships, and this now is actually the first time for almost 3 years that I've been single, and it is so
3 years.
lovely.
That's my goal. That's my goal.
Well, and then we're going to talk about flirting here in a minute. But before we get to that, because that's a fun part of being single. But before we get to that,
Can everybody hear me? Can whoever
it's It's a little low.
Let me see.
You're confused. Someone's confused.
Is that better? Can y'all hear me better?
I think it's just that being how far you are maybe away from the phone, maybe.
Okay. Yeah, I would have a way better setup than this.
Mystic Artifact says thumbs up. So thanks, Mystic Artifacts. Blessing, sister. But it is a little, I think just because you're outdoors and there aren't like walls to kind of your voice to bounce off of.
Okay.
Yeah. But so working out those karmas though and those dark things, like how are you healing this? And then we're going to move on. But like, how are you healing this last paradigm? And do you feel this guy was karmic? Did you know him from a past life? Like what, if that was dark side, you know, revelation stuff, what was going on there?
I definitely feel it was karmic. Now, I had one soulmate like a long time ago. His name is Caesar. He was a chef, and he was just an angel. And being together, you know, was amazing and whatnot. And it makes me just realize like how much I appreciate just a good man, just a good, just a good male. Period. You know, like,
Yes.
simple, straightforward, you know, and come to think of it, he had very present parents, you know, it's crazy. That really makes like a huge, you know, impact on anyone's life. I left that relationship out of temptation, soul growth, I guess karma. I started getting into like metaphysics, crystals, meditations, yoga. We were going to church a lot. I was, you know, I still respect and love my walk as a Christian because that deep understanding or like my radicalism for like, you know, being in Christian church and learning about Jesus, the teachings and whatnot have allowed me to kind of like open up to a bigger consciousness in other religions. And then finding some truth in other religions made me think, you know what? Maybe religion isn't even the thing or the word. This isn't what like I've been like feeling when I go to church, like the Holy Spirit and all that. I feel I felt a genuine presence of like a good, you know, it wasn't just a rush of feelings. It was actually angelic or, you know, something of Christ or bigger than me, right? And so since I started expanding, I guess, you know, as a woman, you know, wanting to develop quicker, and he was, you know, he loved me, so I know he would have followed me. Probably not as much as I was just like, whoa, you know, but I know he would have, because that's the love we had. The first time he ever smoked weed was with me, you know. So like, I was kind of like, I've kind of been that thing for a lot of people, like first time this, first time that, this, you know. But me being so accelerated, also connecting to this mysterious guy. His name is, we'll call him Chewy. He was in, you know, prison for a few years, for whatever reasons. I had known him through a party in high school way before meeting Caesar, and he like kind of comes back. And now thinking back on it, it makes sense. Like he had, I'm sure he was learning some wild things in prison about, I don't know, you know, consciousness, whatever. Long story short, sorry. He introduced me to, well, I started introducing him to, I guess, my spirituality. I developed a crush on him. I ended up ending this 4-year relationship with Caesar. Would have been beautiful, would have been very good life partner, like family, energy. I would have been happy, you know, we probably would have been on a ranch in Mexico, but I chose School of Hard Knocks. Like,
yes, girl, I understand that. Well, so karma, like, were you like the you know, do you feel like you completed karma? I feel like 95 to 97% of every relationship I've had in this life, and I've had tons and I've loved them all, it's all been karmic. And it's like we've had all this stuff to clean up, to clear up, to have closure on. And now I kind of feel like I'm at the end of this karma, and I'm almost like, can I just have some freaking fun and some good, can we just like hang out and like not have to do hospitals and blood and drama and weird, just all those kind of things. It's like, can we just have fun and have a healthy time together? In fact, the last 3 relationships I've had, they all happened in a 12-year cycle, and there was pornography involved. There was all just, suicide attempt, transgender. My ex-husband is now a woman. I grew up a lot in these 12 years. And the first relationship in that 12 year was 5 years with a woman. And so who is now a man also, by the way. So I've had this really powerful 12-year cycle. And now I'm at the point where I'm like, okay, I'm not getting married. I'm not really looking for a boyfriend anymore or a girlfriend. But I've decided I have this playful intention that I play with, that it's like, how about just this idea of having a lover on every continent? I think that sounds really, really nice, So let's shift gears here. The idea of, you had mentioned soulmates, twin flames, past life loves, so you've had a soulmate.
Huh?
A lot of it's karma. Okay.
Yeah. It's not almost all. If it's either dharma or karma, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. And I'm wondering, because this, how this big thing is, twin flame, like everyone's going crazy about this twin flame thing.
I remember I went crazy.
Okay, so what does it mean to you? Give us a little definition. What does that mean to you, twin flame?
I think 2 individuals who came to do mission work, who came out of service, service to humanity, service to, it's more about service than them just being so fixated on each other. It's
yes,
but our beautiful human nature romanticizes, almost anything, but yeah, twin flame is more of I feel like a spiritual, it's like a spiritual relationship.
Thank you for saying that. I really love that, because I feel that I have, and I haven't talked to him about this, and I'm not sure without my glasses on. Sometimes I can make out the little who's on here if I recognize the symbol, but sometimes I cannot. So I don't know if you're here, Will. But my best friend is gay. He's a gay man. And I swear to God, for me, what's come in this last year or so since he moved out, is I'm like, we are fucking twin flames, and there's no romantic intimacy in that way, but we are freaking boom, 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 and I'm like, oh, it's not exactly what you said. It doesn't necessarily have to be this romantic darling, and falling in love thing. It's it's on a higher level, and bringing it back to the very beginning, what you were saying about holding space.
I feel to hold I'm not going to say true, but to hold a certain code of twin flame energy, it's you're so, you're able to love so much, not in a sense where you're able to love so much that you can love multiple people, We got
to talk about that at the next time you come by, because there's polygamy. That's a whole other thing too.
Oh, yeah.
And triangle love affairs. Girl, you're going to have to come back.
I can definitely say some really, controversial things about that. I don't know. I feel it's a mind thing, or genetics, or not. I don't know. It's a tricky thing, because we're all so different, And I don't like to step on someone's toes or judge. When even I myself had thought of maybe entering those realms, But I've definitely seen, I guess in my experience, the damage, the psychological, or sometimes not true transparency. Almost people step in these or want these relationships, and they know they have to play the spiritual game or something in order to get in these, places with others, But that can all be karma too, that you attract, or some people attract people who want to control them, or and get into these weird love triangles, when really they're just siphoning each other's like accumulated, like toxicness, Now it can be healthy though. It can also be healthy. And even if it's healthy, I'm still, I don't know how I feel even about that yet myself, right? Yeah.
Yes. Okay, very well said. I really appreciate what you're sharing with us all. And the lighting right now, ooh, the sun is just like right across you. It's just beautiful.
Yeah, there's a pond behind me too.
Oh, gorgeous.
Yeah.
So we are coming into almost 10 minutes to go, and I wanted to definitely go through our little, we're going to call them turn on, turn offs. And we're going to see if we can do kind of a quickish round with this. Maybe not. We'll see how it goes. But knowing that we have so much time left for our little show here. So basically the idea is I want to throw you these words like flirt, crush, relationship, men. And we might add one or two at the end. But and in their own, what are the turn-ons? When you start okay, first of all, what is flirting to you? Like just a little definition.
Right. I mean, flirting is just an attempt to, capture someone's, attention, having enough interest to just, and then thus everything else falls. It could be body language, it could be just eyes, it could be an intense vibration, it could be very
I love
subtle.
that. Okay.
Flirt can be so subtle, right? And so delicate and beautiful. I love it.
Oh, I love how you summed it up. Me too. And it's so fun. And I feel like I never understood flirting. I had so many fears around men and sex and stuff for so long growing up. But my little sister, she's like, you flirt all the fucking time. And I'm like, no, I don't. She's like, oh, you're a Taurus and you just don't even realize that you're flirting with everyone all the time. And I'm like, really? Like, I don't get it. But now that I'm understanding the dynamic of flirting.
You're like the planet Venus,
Right. It's in my nature to love everyone. But I love your offering for that. So turn on, like if you're flirting with someone, like what are the turn ons in that flirt energy, and what are the turn offs?
Yeah. So a turn on is humor. Oh my God. I don't know. Like, I just like a humorous person. I like intelligence. I like when someone can simply formulate a complete sentence. It can get as basic as grammar. I mean, shit.
See, I don't mind if someone doesn't know how to spell, because I'm really bad at grammar as well. I love what you said that though. Flirting, turn on. For me,
very initial like impressions, right? It's like, oh wow, I think when I'm knowing someone and if they, it's not, I can cut slack. You know what I mean? But it's just like whenever we're right there, and then it's a conscious choice. I can feel it, and it's like when you're human, it's just those little things those quirks.
Yes, I love quirks about people. Turn-ons in flirting with me is someone who is quick-witted. Again, yes, I agree with humor, but I need to know that they can match me, like energetically in that way, and that sort of spawns more flirting, further flirting, and lots of fun. Sort of ping-ponging the ball back and forth. So what's a turn off? If you're flirting with someone and they start doing...
Oh, just being raunchy. Like, raunchy shit. I'm like, I don't know why. Like, I guess being raunchy is their act. Raunchy. When someone's just raunchy and, kind of like, I can just feel and tell this is like a thing that they do over and over in their introduction or speaking to somebody. Dick pics. I don't even know if that's flirting. I think that's a violation. I think that's violating.
I have never been sent a dick pic. Have you been sent dick pics? I have never been sent a dick pic. Have you been sent a dick pic?
Not anymore, but I have. Yeah, I have like many, random.
Wait, many? Okay, wait, without even asking for them?
Yes. Spiritual people, I've called them out too. I'm not going to lie. I'm the one that I'm like, this person perceives me as some like, and I get it. I'm such a lover. You're perceiving me as some nymph in the forest, that,
Right.
But and so I've had that happen with spiritual, and I won't put anyone on blast. The only way I put them on blast was when I found out they're with a partner, and I'm like, okay.
When you found out what?
When I find that some of these people are married, have a relation, things of that nature, I'm like, okay, you want to do this? Let me send this dick pic to your significant other.
Oh, girl. Okay, we got to put... Oh, go ahead. I was just going to say we got to put that on the list for next time around, too. Married men. Okay, so turn off. Got it. For me, turn off with flirt is someone... Like, if you start flirting, but then they just have too big of an ego where they're talking about their dick all the time, I don't know. I'm like, okay, next. Okay, so speaking of next, crush. What is, like, when you start crushing, because flirt is totally different. When you start getting into crush land, there's like I saw this hilarious meme yesterday and it was Kim Kardashian with a bridal gown thing on her, a veil, and it said, when your crush just says, hey, and then she's all like in the gown already, which is just hilarious. But when you start crushing on someone, you're like, you get into that fantasy thing and you're like, could it, would it? But
or
so
like,
what's it?
Yeah, or the expectation and like the
Right.
feeling like, oh, they're not replying soon enough, things of that nature. I've left that arena of having like, I don't know, needing their attention, it's kind of like I like my own space type deal. So I understand. Yes. We get busy. I understand things, right? And it's definitely felt if someone is clearly like not really trying to talk to you, and if someone, I guess for me, I can feel it, and if it's just life, and maybe it's come with my experience to where it's easy for me to just
detach,
not give a fuck, like, yeah.
Right. So you're saying you can crush and still be detached, have a healthy detachment.
Yes.
Which I think is where, if you can create like an online course, I think you would have people lining up to take that, to understand those values, if they're interested, because that is just such a fine line.
I never thought of that.
Yeah, girl. Okay, so crush, turn on. So when you start crushing on someone and they're like, start showing up in what way, what is a turn on for you?
So a turn on for me is like, they're kind of self-independent. They have like an independent nature about them. That even I'm like, I can learn from this, like, wow.
Yes.
I like, they're like self-realized or on the path of self-realization. And it's like, it's kind of obvious. It's felt. That like turns me on when I start crushing on somebody, like just like a beautiful, like even someone with a beautiful talent, and it has nothing to do with being a fangirl or nothing. It's like literally like you have found your sound, or you found your something, right? So those are some of my crush, like, and yeah.
Okay. Yeah, for me, it's like when they follow through. When they for me, like, and I totally hear you about like detachment, your new online course. But as well, though, there's a sense of follow through. It's like man up just enough to, hit the ball back, and I feel that, but also, staying detached if they don't hit the ball back, like you're saying, there's life, there's this, and it can't be like all about you all the time. But if that they're starting to crush on you too, I feel that having a gentle, consistent, like tap back and forth is what keeps me crushing. And we'll go through the comments here in a moment. But what's a turn off? So when you start crushing, and then they do what? What's turns off that crush right away?
Yeah, let's see. Where did I put it? I wrote it. Yeah, turn off is I guess someone who's like the communication is off. Like, I don't know. the inconsistency. You know, I can feel like inconsistency almost automatically once we start developing a so-called crush between each other. You know.
Thank you
and
for
it's
saying
nothing
it. That
offensive. I'm not at all. It's never anything offensive. It's usually like, okay, good thing I know this. You know, I know. No, you know, no, none taken. No hard feelings. Whatever.
Yeah, that's beautiful, and that goes like with what I was saying too. That's it. It's like it consistency. Mm-hmm. I think is a turn on.
And they're not just respecting my simple ideas. Sometimes some people like we all kind of want to just be heard or like be right for what we know, and when I lean in closer to someone, you know, I get to know their thoughts a little bit more, and I don't like someone who's like, I guess, not as open-minded or as myself. You know, it really won't develop further, honestly, if we're not
right.
Just simply, you know, open books. Not necessarily like, well, this is what I want, this is what I'm looking for. Like, I just like an open mind.
Yes. I like really smart people. I like what you said earlier too about learning from someone. Usually I'm the teacher, and it's really nice to, you know, not necessarily to be a full damsel in distress, but to be at that level of like where I can be taught something, where someone is a master of some realm that is so, you know, connects to maybe my interests or what I'm doing, but that is also just of its own, just so illumined, and that they can help me really just by being in their presence.
Yeah,
I think it's such a beautiful thing. And there was something else, and now it's gone. Okay, but Kush Dog, age helps. I know you've got some people here. Petra saying hello to you. Blessings, everyone. Lilith is someone you don't mess with. Let's see.
She'll even fuck you up when you don't like check your own self when you're working with her or working through her. I mean, it's Kali. Lilith is Kali, you know, in another form, you know?
Okay. And then she says, Mazamora says, I'm glad you are doing this. I told you once you could start a podcast with all this content. There you go, girl. I can definitely hear better. Okay, good.
Divorced Miss... Hey, Renaissance Festival. Let's go. Take me.
There you go. And Mystic Artifact says, divorced widow, divorced decade of Jean. You go, Jean. Good for you. It's your time now. And you are obviously rocking it out. Let's see. Nikki. Okay, thanks, Nikki. Turn off. Oh, Vajra Queen says, turn off, not educated, not spiritual. End of story. Ooh! Value. Nikki says, value you and respect. Okay.
I love those. All of that. I agree 100%. You know? And I know I was missing a lot, but you know, it's like, so...
So we have like maybe a minute or two left, and just before it starts to do our little countdown till we wrap up, I do want to let people know that you are Ancient Rosewater 11 at Instagram. You have a YouTube channel if they want to contact, connect, look at your content, that's called Ancient Rosewater, 3 separate words. You're also on Facebook, and if people are like, how do you pronounce your name? What's up? How do I get to know you? There's links and stuff that are provided, but you want to share something else?
No, I was just, I guess, if we wanted to hit the turn on for relationships and turn on.
Yes, okay, but I wanted to make sure we got your info in there too. So
my
please,
turn on in relationships when entering that, I guess, is transparency, integrity, reciprocation, and fun at the fucking same time. Come on.
Yes. Thank you. I know. Fun. I tell you, I've been through so many serious, dark, serious addiction, blah, 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 blah. And it's just like to go light and to have fun. That's a serious turn on too. Yeah. Yeah. So turn off.
Deceit, clinginess, insensitivity, and insecurity.
Yes.
I can't stand that. And I love men who have the courage to be different. The courage to fucking be different and to actually live it. Like, that right there, I'm like, you will turn my head a million.
No, for me, I have no physical type. Isn't like he looks like this, or he has biceps like that or whatever like this, a certain hair color. It's all frequency. And honestly,
Yes.
the quirkier, the better. I'm just like, hello, you know, especially when it has a spiritual root and some like,
are you kidding
cosmic
me?
genius
Yes.
and an open heart that knows Christ. I mean, God, that's like,
Exactly.
that's a beautiful thing. I agree with you, though. You had said it twice now in slightly different ways that, for me, a big turnoff, once you get into a relationship, sometimes you don't know stuff until you're in it. And then you're like, okay, learning about you, learning about me, is when they don't have their own life, when they don't have their own thing. And then they're like,
they're
in your
game.
thing.
They're easily, not them, but, you know, I've come from a place, too, of easy manipulation, you know? Easy to play into the games of competition, consumerism, power games. Oh, you hurt me, I hurt you. You know, like I'm like done with that. You know, I'm putting all the games down. It's a new earth. You know, this is like new frequencies. You know, new ways of relating, of relationships, of being honest, so that we can get this gunk out and like go. You know.
Yeah, and so are you equating that if he, whoever he is, doesn't have his own divine alignment with sense of purpose, that then this can allow all these,
you know, the matrix,
distractions.
The matrix is like, you know, you fill holes, you voids and shit of that nature. It's all a part of all this crazy of everything happening. Basically, it's like it's kind of all connected, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Absolutely it is. Yeah. No, it's really important for me as well that they have that together. Because actually I don't know, it's whatever it is, selfish, I don't know, but I really love my work. And you're only gonna, whoever you are, man, or, you know, whatnot, are only gonna be invited in if I choose that. And I'm very selective, and it's a very sacred relationship I have with my work that is probably the most profound and sacred, more than I have even with a person. And so that has to be honored, that there's that part of me, but also that they really have some of their own interests and hobbies and things that they are attending to.
And not necessarily always trying to mirror, it back to you, or regurgitate, parrot talk. I've witnessed that, and so now it's like I'm able to really see, like, I think you're really fascinated by me, which I don't blame you, but now you're trying to fill where you were living in with me, and you're gonna end up, I don't know, we're gonna end up hurting each other, or something's gonna happen where it's gonna be apparent,
Well, I love that you're saying that, because it's what I learned from my last 12-year cycle with these 3 relationships is about authenticity. And each one of these people were not showing me their true selves, and to different degrees and in ways. And at the end of it, especially after the last one, that was the biggest boom in my whole life, I really had to look at myself and think about, where am I not being authentic? Why do I keep drawing these people that are freaking like saying one thing and showing up as another thing, and there's another, like all these masks? And I was like,
it's like what Nikira said, boundaries, knowing yourself, knowing your boundaries, knowing your nature, and honoring that,
And that was my biggest takeaway from
we would
my
have had
last
2 empires right now, me and you. If we were, but hey, we're here, right?
I know, and it's all perfect. It's all perfect. But that was my biggest takeaway from the last relationship, where he had attempted suicide, and then a couple years later had really just told me that he's really a woman and has been one his whole life, and now is in the transformation of that. It was just so much, all of it, for that 5-year period. But I felt that it brought me so deeply down to my knees, and that was the one thing that at the end of the day, and we're friends now, with this recent one, the 2 before it, no, but my last partner, we are friends, and I have so much respect for her, right, and that were so bold and courageous to be their full authentic self, to be like, I can't live and pretend that I'm a man anymore. I'm actually a woman, a 60-year-old woman. You know, he's 13 years older than me. And once I got over being betrayed and hurt and all that stuff, which took its time, I just have such a great reverence and such an honor and a gratitude, because they helped me to sort of like snap out of it and come out of the elusive cycles that I just want to get married and be this certain person and have a benefactor, a man take care of me, and with these stories, these karmas that I was living out psychologically and looking for my father. I feel like I finally found my father. Like, I'm done with that father grid. I do not need to look for my father in men anymore. And I have been looking for him my whole life in every single man. And so that's done now. But anyway, I have that great gratitude. So what, ending in gratitude, and this is going on longer. I guess I thought lives end in an hour, but somehow we're keeping going. So we're just gonna keep going here for
Why not? Yeah,
you're okay with that.
I'm okay. Because I wanted to hit a really a really important part of my story, which started in 2014. I had that relationship with this person, Chewy. Well, actually, it was more of like, now I'm in another phase of life, and you're introducing different music, psychedelics to me. I'm introducing the angelic realm of this expansion, the crystals, the oils, the my healing, like, so. But it was toxic, it was very unrequited energy, like unrequited love. I got lost into the concept. So I do want to do the series to help a lot of people, because I got lost into the twin flame concept, and I felt like this person was my twin flame, and that warped like all the boundaries that I should have had for myself, and so just because it was an intense connection does not mean it was it was twin flame, it was just intense. And so after that had finished, I met this other person. I'm just going to say Joshua, and in 2014. And that was definitely a catalyzing 6 years of my life, like a situationship. It's crazy. He's a Gemini and I'm a Pisces. So it's like crazy. Yeah. Hermes, Trismegistus, like he unlocked, or rather, in our experience, sharing things like the esoteric nature of spiritualism. So that's whenever I even delved darker into like my aspects. And now I'm coming out in a period of like letting go even of past life energy, even of like my love for like Egypt too much. Like, I'm starting to understand that even some of these like ancient like gods are like kind of psychically like messing with like a lot of people, even in the, if it makes sense, like the mythos, all that, like I don't know how to put it. But I feel like humans are delving into like the lower nature of some of these ancient like energies, rather than like, I don't know, maybe that's another video. I don't want to confuse you too much. But
no,
Go ahead.
Pardon me. I think I get it, and just to connect those dots, because I'll often feel that way if I'm understanding correctly, that if we get too hooked onto identifying with those grids, with those ideas, those stories, those energies, that it can actually cock block our awareness of our unity, of our oneness with God. That it's because it's just a story that then we start, like you're saying, we're playing this out because we're so identified with being this person or this energy,
this mystic energy that's probably from another world, that was probably created by some power hungry guy or woman, we don't know. And I know that I like to be in that imaginative world where where I like the images, the superheroes, the goddesses, empresses, but then there's more to it too. I don't want to identify too much with the gnosis of some goddess from another place too much. It's like, I'm here, I may have aspects of that, I may express that. I might have those similar codes, but I'm not, like a part of that siphoned, like grand nature of it. Kind of like the way that the celebrities are with that. It's like, it's kind of like I connect that, I guess, that toxicity with like the toxic God egohood with, the way celebrities have, I guess, given that like collective energy, if that makes sense. It's like that's, we gotta talk, because I know that.
No, I feel you, and again, I believe we speak, in the same tongue generally, but we use different words to decorate the information with, perhaps. But that resonates to me in the sense of, like, there's a lot of, in the spiritual realm, there's a lot of people making identifications with who they are, or where, what galactic tribe they belong to, etc. And then there's the stories, just on an aside, about this, the galactic wars, and the wars here in the 3D, and the 3D conspiracy series, and then how it all locks in with bloodlines from ancient galactic Anunnaki and blah, 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 and Sumerians, and we can go on and all that stuff. And a lot of folks in the collective are, identifying with who they are in that story. And I'm like, I got nothing. I am not any of those stories. I feel that I am a light, a diplomat of the light. And that I talk to all
that's what
beings,
kind of where I'm stepping back. Yeah, that's where I'm like complete, because like I have fun in that. I had a lot of fun in those different, I guess, expressions, or delving into those energies. Being a Pisces, I can be very like freaking switch, like a character, like, very shape-shifting, if even, and snake energy, and that's fun and things. But in getting in the ego, lost in it, you can think you're grander, or get caught up in this false heroine energy, if that makes sense, rather than being more authentic with it, and then allowing the true talents, forms, natures to come out, rather than labeling. Labels. Labels. I feel it's there as a part of another jigsaw puzzle. All
right.
These things. That's why I love, like, I guess, an avian energy, which that's another thing, because they're very like, we're just observing. I'm gonna observe. I'm not really gonna battle, because it's already like laid out, but yeah, I can send you some like information on, like, an avian energy is, and if there's anything I identify with, it's avian. That's it.
Okay. Yeah. For me, it's just light. It's the heaven on earth frequency. It's the Christ. It's the consciousness of the tiny space in the heart, that portal. And I'm like, right this way, ladies and gentlemen. Like, I can show you how to, I can hold space for you. I can point to the door. You got to walk through it yourself.
Right.
Absolutely, though. Oh my God, I love all this stuff that we're talking about, and how it all connects. Then, if we bring it back into relationship, I'm wondering, have you, as identifying, feeling this resonance with the avian grids, have you met a blue boy, a man that's also in that resonance, that has that realization for themselves? No.
So I feel like no, I'm not going to say it, but I feel like maybe if I did have a twin flame, it's it's in the ethers. It's an avian. He's already like I don't know. He's already there. In other words, but I don't think I have.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess it could be possible. It's so interesting on a lot of different levels. There's this thing that I talk about sometimes, that David Wilcox, pardon me, David, I very rarely remember how his last name goes, but he speaks about a universal incarnation, where we're all here, where he's saying that everyone who's ever been anybody on this planet is actually incarnating now for this going into the Aquarian age, the golden ages and stuff, then he's saying that we're all coming in. That's why the population is so big. We've been here so many times and we're so awake, and we already have gathered so much knowledge.
Yeah.
Oh, I see the little spinny. Oh no, you're here. Okay, good. So bringing it back around though to our talk about relationship, romance, all this stuff. I'm wondering for you, because I have my own spin on it, but if this was your last incarnation on this planet, which, by the way, just curious if you have any resonance with that, but if it was, what does that mean to your love life? What does that mean to romance and sex or relationships?
If it ain't that, I don't want it. I don't want it in the sense where, let's be together, get married and all this stuff. No. Like, if it's not that, I can get to know people. I can spend time with people, have, relationships, but I will not, how do I put, that's ultimately what I'm searching for. So that's when the work comes in on myself, if I feel so passionately about this, then, and which I know it's real for me and I know what I am and what I look for, then the work is me. That twin flame or that avian, whatever, is me, that's where I'm going to start. And that's really like where, I guess, that's where a lot of people get lost. That's where I got lost, when I was searching it outside of myself.
Beautiful. Yeah, because it's all self-love, right? Whatever we allow for ourselves is what we're going to allow in from other people and places and things. And to have that as the initial set point, I think we get that at a certain point along our spiritual path. We just you cannot go past a certain point on the Monopoly board. It's like, you just ain't going past this certain point unless and until you start gaining an insight about that. And when you do activate that self-love channel, it's like it fully changes everything. You have to rewire the way,
I'd love to be that person to kind of talk to someone, like when they're on this path and really, serious about it. It's not just, okay, I'm kind of like when they're like, it's really a big thing for them. Like I think of like the younger generations. I think of my 10 nieces and nephews who, are my kids, my children. So I'm like, I would like to give this vital information or just this vital self-awareness knowledge so that it can just, I don't know, the less pain you can experience from like what I'm sharing, I'd love that, because there's, I'm sure not everyone would choose the hard knock life to be as stubborn as I was, but man, some pain can be, kind of avoidable with that self-awareness or that self-love, truly making that, trying, that understanding and connection within, because we're working out our own things, like in the Rubik's Cube, all our layers. And once we enter with another person, like working on ourselves.
Exactly.
Then we're like doing this here and then over here for someone else. And it's like, that's crazy. That's a recipe for like, further, depends, right, on the people, but it's just further away from you paying attention to you, like.
Yeah, it's just like, let's bring in more karmas, more lessons, and add more distractions to it. But sometimes that's how it does unfold, and sometimes we have to learn by.
And I love that you like can go everywhere like that with me, because I understand, like it is what it is. It's what we choose, like exactly.
And it's so interesting you say those words, because then bringing it back earlier. Okay, so we're going to wrap up in around 7-8 minutes. But bringing it back earlier, because I think we've got so much juice, but I want to like bring you back in for a second show. Maybe in the new year we'll let a little time go, and then we'll go a little deeper about the sex and the intimacy and these
I would love that.
Married men or whatever it might be. Okay, that would be awesome. That would be really, really cool. And in the meantime, though, bringing it back to it is what it is, and a little bit of that porn thing that we were talking about. with one of my exes, I remember we had fallen asleep. He had just moved in. And I'm not a porn person at all. I have zero tolerance. Like, that's like that. Actually, can we talk? Let's backtrack for a moment.
I wouldn't
turn off,
but I'm glad to hear that. Because I feel the same way. Oh.
You there? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, turn off for me is someone who is addicted, is like cannot help themselves. That's complete wah wah.
That was this ex.
What's that?
That was the recent relationship.
Two of mine of this most recent cycle. Two of the motherfuckers. Pardon my French. No, I'm over it. I'm good. But I understand.
That's fuck it.
Girl, I tell you, I was devastated. I was engaged. He moved in. He's in the bed next to me, like one of the first nights that we're finally like, oh, we're together. He's moved his stuff in, and it's like we're going to this next level together. And we've gone out for some drinks or whatever. We've fallen asleep, and I woke up to pee in the middle of the night. And I lean over and I'm like cuddling and kissing him on the cheek. And then I see his iPad on the other side on the ground of the bed. Okay? And I'm just like, and I'm like, and because that's me, that's not my thing to look at that or to want to be.
That's your pain. It triggered you and it matters.
It was, yes, thank you. And I think this is an important thing for women that we can have this conversation and go deeper later. Because I don't feel that it's spoken of a lot.
I have a lot of juice when it comes to this.
You know? But it's really, it was so devastating. I think I had to even, like, I rolled myself a sagerette. I, like, made a cup of tea. I was like, he was snoring. And I'm, like, sitting outside smoking and going, like, oh, my God. What the fuck? Like, I was so, it fucking freaked me out so hard because I had just gotten engaged to this person. I just opened my home.
You were talking about my reaction. Oh, my God.
He moved in with me, and I'm like already in love. I'm spellbound by this person. Yet this is this like red flag, like you said earlier.
Yes.
And so I'm outside and I'm smoking and I'm going, fuck, like trying not to freak out and want to shake him up and be like, you know. I'm like, okay, don't be crazy, bitch. Just be calm.
Right.
Jesus. And I was like, Jesus, what is this? What does this mean?
Right.
Come to me. Show me. He came and he said, it is what it is. And I was like, fuck.
That's
right.
That's this
it just is
lesson,
what it is.
And it is what it is. And I just, yeah. Sorry, I'm just like feeling it because that's exactly what happened. And multiple times.
Girl. Oh, the next show is going to be juicy as fuck. I'm telling you.
Hell yeah.
We're just getting started. Oh my gosh. I'm so grateful that you joined us today. Ancient Rosewater 11, follow her. Thank you all of her followers for hopping on over here. We'll put this up on YouTube and on Facebook in this next week. I'm so very grateful. Again, you have a YouTube, Ancient Rosewater. On Insta, you're Ancient Rosewater 11. And Facebook, are you your name?
Petra Anjelica Ramon. So the same name you see on Instagram, it's the same name on Facebook.
Yes. And she's a Reiki master, and you are currently, do you want to say where you are in the world, or do you want to keep it low?
I'm in Houston, Texas, and I do, face-to-face Reiki energy healing. We can talk. I heal through conversation. I heal through my hands. I heal, I can do long distance. So, I can, assist with, whatever ailments you feel, things of that nature. So it's long distance and face-to-face, Reiki energy healing. So I'm certified too, and I don't announce this or step into that role when I'm not, right, or when I'm not like really honest and working with myself. And so I'm confident to saying that right now is that I feel there's definitely, a lot working through me and beneficial to myself. And I'm here, to also assist and help anyone with mental, physical issues. And, we go from there.
Beautiful. So if you're in or around Houston, Texas, and you're feeling it, contact Petra and see if you can hook it up together and share that love, share that light. I thank you, dear goddess, for sharing your love and light. I fall in love with you more every time I just see a post or something. I'm just like, I love this girl. So thank you with all of my heart for being here.
I love you too, Tuesday. Wait, Tuesday, is that your name?
That's my name.
That
Tuesday
is
May
so
Thomas.
unique. Hey, and you know my real good friend who I'm about to see here in a bit, her name's just, well, I won't give her name. I'll keep, but I love her. She's a Taurus. And
well,
so,
and like, I
love my Tauruses. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, and you're on the cusp of Pisces Aquarius, and you, like we when we were connecting earlier, we had the realization that you have your birthday is one day
apart from your sisters.
Apart from my sister, and you're the same age as my sister.
Well, I've got to meet her.
Yeah, she's like my favorite person in the whole world. And then so it's like the more I get to know you, you're just phenomenal. And then the little things that click, it's like, oh well, no wonder we got this in common, we got that in common.
We're here. We've got to meet. We've got to. I mean, we've met, but we've got to continue the movement. Continue.
Yes, and we will. So thank you, Petra, with all of my heart for being here today. And I look forward to getting you back on, and we'll continue our conversation, go a little deeper, a little juicier. And blessings, sister.
Blessings. I love you. Bye-bye.
I love you too. Thank you, everyone, for joining us, joining 4DT. Bye, honey. Peace. Blessings.